Yeah. Okay. So, we did the webinar, and I thought it'd be a really good session if we could get an apprentice's view on A, the webinar, B, ADAS, and C, how your career in the automotive industry is going. Okay. So I sent across a couple of questions that you may have read in the invite to the calendar. If not, don't worry about it. I'll run through the questions, and you give as much or as little information as you want to, and we'll take it from there. Is that all right? Yeah?
Yes, spot on.
Cool. So what's your background then, Reece? I.e. school, hobbies, colleges, that type of thing? What?
So like secondary school and things like that.
Yeah.
I just typical 7 to 11 school life, GCSEs. I didn't really know what to do after school, so I did exactly 7 weeks of the sixth form studying English, and halfway through one of the lessons I thought, okay, this ain't for me, and I had a scooter at the time, so I hopped on my moped and went straight to the local college in Nuneaton, and enrolled 7 weeks later on a basically it's like a vehicle fitting course of tyres, oil, things like that. It was the only one I could get on at the time, and coming towards the end of that, I was looking for apprenticeships, and this one had popped up with Gemini, and I applied for a couple, but I think I was hoping I'd get this one just because of what they were offering. So I ended up after that.
Okay, and Gemini, they're pretty sort of modern, forward-facing.
Yeah, compared to some of the stories, shall I say, I've heard over the 3 years I've been here, compared to some of the body shops and a few lads I know from college who have gone into the same trade, but not, they've not really had this sort of experience compared to me. No, and I think particularly Dave Sargent, who owns Gemini, he's been very active on the apprentice sort of stage with the multi-skilled ever since the start, I believe. So yeah, I've got nothing but admiration for Gemini in that respect. So what you went into sixth form, what were you studying? I studied English. I think I did history and art, and it was a bit of a last minute resort because I hadn't really got anything into plan. I know I didn't want to do it, but I thought I didn't have nothing set up at the time. So I thought I started with that, and I thought I knew I wanted to get into the trade and because I've always been into cars. But the only thing I could get on, I didn't do very well in school, so the only thing I could get on was a basic mechanics course. So I started that, I did a year there, and just coming to the end of it, it was either enroll with the level 3, I think it was, or hopefully try and find something. I was doing a job pot washing, and I worked at a local cinema as well at the same time. So I was open to somewhere to sack them off. Yeah, so you definitely got a good work ethic then if you got some part-time jobs cracking on as well. So you say you were an enthusiast for cars. What type of sort of gives you the spark for cars then? Mainly the older stuff. I think my dad was quite a petrol head, and just growing up, he was more into motorbikes, just pottering around with stuff. But yeah, I had what did we do? We bought an old Mini when I was 14 and had a play about with that. And then I had that until I was 16, and he turned around to me and he says, look, he says, you can have this as your first car, but you're not ringing me up every 5 minutes when it breaks down. And I said, or he says, while it's worth something, we can sell it and we'll get you something decent. We ended up selling that, but I didn't have any experience then, and I didn't really want to have to rope my dad into it. And it was sort of like, I'd like to get into the trade because I'd like to be able to manage something like that on my own experience and tools. Yeah, and how old was the Mini? It was a 91 multi-point injection one, so Rover, but it was bodged. It was all different shades of red. It had all patch welding underneath it, but it was brilliant at the time. I was 17, I thought it was ace. Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, the Mini is just steeped in history with Great Britain anyway, isn't it? So that's pretty good. So what inspired you to join the industry, and specifically the multi-skilled area then? So you obviously got a sort of passion for cars. Why the multi-skilled? While I was looking through, it was on the .gov website, I found this one, and they had loads of stuff. You got main dealers doing mechanic apprenticeships, and then you got the independent garages around. And Gemini stood out because of the massive list of qualifications and experience you were going to be exposed to. as well as obviously the money they were offering at the time for a first year apprentice. I thought, well, that's different. It was package, but it was just the main huge list of things you will cover during the trip. You know, you're not just in one department.
No, well, it goes from the mechanics to the panel to the paint. So you've covered all pretty much the trades within the body shop, really.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Now, how have you found that over the last 3 years, walking through each of those departments?
It's the best thing I think I've done it. I can hop around in all three, but I think I've settled in the MET department.
Right. So that's where your passion is.
Mm.
Okay. Cool. And what is it about MET specifically then? So the mechanical side of things. What would you say is your favourite part of MET and mechanical, and what would you say is the one you think, oh no, I've got to do that today?
I think the best thing I suppose for me would be you know, you see a car come in absolutely muddled, and then taking all the bits apart, trying to see what you actually need to order, not missing any bits off, and then putting it all on, seeing it when it's all fitted up afterwards and it's been painted and panelled and whatnot is quite nice. Getting it all lined up, just all the little fine details is quite satisfying. But I don't know what I'd say a worst part of it is. Anything over the age of 10 years old that's just maybe an old Ford, stereotypically, come in and I'm just going to sit there with an angle grinder for half my day trying to get some panels off.
Yeah, well, that'd be the same as a Land Rover Defender, I think.
God, I think I've
Yeah, no, cool. And so from the mechanical side of things, technology has come on massively over the last 5 to 10 years. And you've come in a really interesting part of, you know, automotive over the last 3 years. I know you joined the webinar for ADAS, but do you get involved in replacing the radars, the cameras, all the technical pieces that help with stopping a car without the driver's intervention, basically?
I've replaced, I think it was a couple of Golfs I've done over the time being, but because I didn't really understand what they were at the time. This is a while ago now. It's only recently I understood ADAS and understood how important it is. We've had a young lad, when he's independent, he comes in and does it at site. And I've been chatting to him quite a bit because he's only a young lad that does it, and just get thinking, oh, you know, what you're doing, sets all his the screens up to all the lasers a lot of them, and I've just been chatting to him a couple of times. But I'm doing it. I've just come off an A-class Mercedes that's got to have an ADAS Reece. I'm doing a front end on it, so at some point today he will be in to do that as well.
Right. Okay. And have you spoken to your boss there, reference getting the kit to do it, or?
I spoke to Dan Dillon, and I said, you know, our site, I don't think we get a few in, but I don't know, going off the webinar, I don't think it'd be as cost effective at this point in time. It probably give it another 2 years where, you know, you're going to see a lot more frequent cars coming in.
Yeah.
That's probably when I could see this site getting a kit. And
will that be you that does it when you do get the kit then?
I'd like to think so, or at least have have something to do with it, yeah.
I think you're more than capable of doing it. So yeah, watch that space. So referring back to the webinar then, how did you hear about the webinar?
It was emailed to me through Dan Dillon again. He says, I think this might be something that would appeal to you. I give it a watch, and sat down and I did.
And what did you find interesting about the webinar in particular?
Mainly, it sounds a bit daft maybe, but I didn't actually know ADAS covered 3 different, you know, you got the camera, LiDAR, radars. I thought it was just the box on the front of the car, or sometimes on the badges or in the grills, that would sort of track, you know, how, say, Tesla, for example, somebody slams the anchors on, it will stop for you. And the same with, if you don't indicate in the lanes, it will throw you back in. I thought that was as simple as ADAS was, but I didn't realise it was the whole camera system, and it was a lot more in depth than that. Yeah, no,
it's very complex. I mean, you've got multiple systems on the vehicle now that all feed into like a brain, like the management computer system. So you can have cameras up in the windscreens, you've got radars at the front, you've potentially got a LiDAR, which is a laser system that scans the horizon for objects. And yeah, I mean, I find it quite interesting. And now we've got headlamps that are ADAS capable as well. So they, you know, if you've got, we've today put out an ADAS 12 Days of Christmas ADAS, and it's all about headlamps. So if you've got a matrix headlamps, it's got various diodes in the headlamp, and when it registers a oncoming vehicle, it will stop that diode to stop blinding you.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's the camera up in the windscreen generally that is scanning that area for those vehicles. So yeah, I'll send you some videos of it.
Yeah,
It's interesting to see. Are you watching the daily updates from the NBRA reference ADAS?
I've been sent the 12 days of Christmas thing,
Yeah.
but I was talking to, well, I'd emailed Danny, sent me Friday. I was struggling to get onto the link of a couple of them, but the one that did, I could get onto the one with it was just labelled camera, the 12 days Christmas camera one, but I was having some trouble getting onto that.
Okay, well, I'll email you the hard copies anyway, so that you can have a look, because it's bite-sized chunks, easy to digest, and it, you know, I think it would expand your knowledge on it, and you've obviously got a thirst for that, so I'll do that. So what are your aspirations then, Reece? So you've done 3 years, you're going to be coming up to your final assessment to get passed off as an apprentice, come fully fledged. Then what? What do you see yourself doing in 12 months, say again in 3 years' time, and then 5 years' time? What is it you'd like to be doing?
So within the, say, 12 months, I think I can see myself staying here.
Yeah. Dave would be pleased with that, Mike.
Yeah, don't worry, to do one straight away. No, I'll still be here. I plan to anyway. But yeah, the only difference being is I'm a bit more capable in terms of speed, and maybe got a few more tools, because I've got a bit of a habit of, you know, every other week getting something. It's like a disease. But yeah, the only long-term aspirations I've got was I know Gemini are big over in Australia, and one thing I'd love to be able to do is go over there, whether it be to just try it out there for a couple of months. That's something that probably be my end goal to do. But yeah, stay on the shop floor 200%. Yeah,
no, cool. No. Well, I admire you wanting to go over to Australia. For me, there's too many things that want to bite you and sting you over there. So you're welcome to that one.
That's
and what car do you drive at the moment?
My daily, should we say, is it's a little Chevrolet Spark. Nothing in your face, just cheap and cheerful.
Okay, and if you had a choice of a vehicle, what one would you try and choose if you had the funds?
Ooh. It would be something, a lot of the way it's going with these electronic conversions. So I'd probably have a DeLorean with running gear from a Tesla or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hybrid and a half, isn't it?
Yeah, it matches well. It does well with what it looks like. So
yeah.
Well.
No, cool. Have you got any questions for me, Reece?
I did have one actually. I had it in my head earlier on.
That's all right.
Where's your little glass, mate?
There he's gone. That's lost me out. It was
that's all right.
Well,
if you think about it, email me.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to ask you, Reece. You've been an absolute star. I'll write up the profile and I'll send it over to you to make sure you're happy with it. And then we'll get it out, and it'll be part of the 12 days of ADAS, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah, we may even, I'll talk to Chris about possibly showing this Teams as well. So I think people would get a lot out of it, if you're okay with that.
That's fine.
Cool. All right. Well, if I don't speak to you, have a brilliant Christmas. Stay safe, and it's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah, lovely.
All right. Thanks, Reece.
All right.
Cheers, mate.
That's it. Bye.